That's right. Okay, let's see whether we are live right now. Just want to make sure that everything's in order. Okay, it seems that we are live right now at the moment. So let us just take a while and let me just make sure that every one of you are here with me today. Great. Wow. So welcome to another series of video content that I'm building. And I also want to make sure that you guys are here with me. And let me just make sure that we are live. Give me a second. Let me just. Okay, great. Awesome, awesome. Well, sometimes we have some issues with some of all this. So I just want to ensure that you guys can hear me. Well, sometimes we have some. Okay, so let's do this. I think today what I want to really kind of cover is the key thing. A lot of research out there right now I'm seeing is that there's a lot of mistakes done. And there's this one thing that a lot of homeowners are, or should I say the video creators are actually missed out. Okay, they missed out quite a fair bit in terms of in their videos and what their research is about. And it's going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars if you are doing it wrongly and you're following blindly. So only this video that you are watching, right, is going to be accurate. All right. And also most importantly is that today we want to acknowledge how you can actually look at property in a different way. And whatever that you're going to learn from today, it can actually make your decision change because today a lot of the videos out there may not be interpreting it correctly. So later on, knowing this one thing, right, is going to help you change how you're going to make decision to buy a property. And so you want to watch on to find out why. Okay. So there's this condo that is about 2 minutes, okay, 2 minutes away from MRT, and perhaps you think that this is a bulletproof investment. Uh, give me a second. Let me just issues with some of all this now. I'm seeing is that there's a lot. Yep. Okay. Great. Yeah. So there's this MRT that is within this project, right? There is a 2 minutes walk, and everybody thinks that this is a worthwhile investment. But what if the same MRT, right, is also the reason that you're going to struggle later to sell? Have you actually thought before? Well, because while most people rush to actually look into buying near MRTs, I'm not saying that it's incorrect, but many homeowners forgot to ask this one thing: will your future buyers also care about the MRT as much as you do today? Okay, so the key thing is that if no one is going to buy from you 5 years later or even 6 years later, no matter how good the MRT is, right, how would it help you in your exit? So this is why we are going to cover today, in a fair bit. Like, are we, so eminent about the MRT situation that we forgot to see on the bigger picture of how things are going to be? Okay, so I think this is something that we also want to digest today. So in this video, right, we're going to exploit this common belief. Okay, we're going to exploit this common belief that, hey, today with the MRT, right, with the MRT, is it necessary for us to uh, with a higher capital gain? Okay, that's one. And second is, would it result in a higher and quicker sale at the same time? So we want to uncover these two aspects. And I want to break down why the MRT proximity, right, can sometimes hurt your resale potential. And I'm going to use the upcoming new launches like Springleaf and Canberra to do some comparison. And I also will bring other projects to compare. And we are all going to go with support with all the research data and numbers. And the real key thing here is it's all about your future buyer. Okay, who are they, where they come from, and also at the same time, we're going to understand, do they actually exist or not? Okay, and in this eye-opening episode, right, we're going to break down the truth most agents won't tell you. Capital gain actually is not built on location hype. Okay, this is something that you need to be very careful about. It's built on who will buy from you next. Okay, so later on when we use real world comparisons like Springleaf and Canberra, right, we'll uncover a few things. Number one, we'll uncover why the MRT proximity might not protect your resale value in future. Second, with Canberra, there is a lot of different buyers, okay, a lot of different upgraders waiting for you. But at the same time, Springleaf doesn't have but it's not yet lah. I can't say that it's don't have, but it's just not yet. So if you're planning to enter either of these two projects, right, and you don't know whether your exit is going to be safe, then you want to watch this on before you actually commit. So there's three parts to this video. The first part is the common myth of MRT, of how it actually translates into data and research. The second thing is we're going to cover is the case studies of actual projects comparisons. And the third one is what are the two real factors, right, that's going to potentially secure your future growth in your property. And there's going to be a bonus is we're going to uncover is Canberra, which is further from MRT, right, a lousier buy than Springleaf, where this project is so much nearer to the MRT. So we're going to uncover these two aspects. And if today this is your first time joining us, I also want you to actually perhaps seek a second opinion, get a different perspective of things first before you actually dive into selection of your project. And with Springleaf and Canberra being the OCR, these two are upcoming. And so you can actually scan the QR code and then reach out to us and see how we can actually help you do this approach. All right. So one of the key things that I always share with a lot of my clients is that today everybody talks about the entry. Okay, oh, you must get a entry price right. Your price has to be lower. You know, it's not. It's one of the key strategies that we also use in our REI method. But also at the same time, right, for smart investors, you need to also start from the back. Okay, you start from the end because the gain, right, that you're going to make isn't built from where you enter. It's built on who's willing to buy from you next. Okay, I think this is very, very important for us to understand. And later on, as we touch on Springleaf as well as Canberra, we're going to do some comparison. And I just want to share with you some details about these two projects. So at least you have some overview. Like for example, for Springleaf, the targeted preview is actually on the 1st of August. And this is a very a little bit different kind of development with more close to 1,000 units. Okay, and the key thing is that there's also 32 units of conserved buildings. So this is a rather big plot of land with a leasehold property. Okay, and the key thing is that there are multiple blocks that is also high rise. And one key thing is that even though there's 941 units, you must take note that they only have 759 car park lots. Okay, including of 8 electrical vehicle lots as well as the accessible car park lots at basement 1 and 2. So this project, they have quite a number of different blocks that you can look into. So this development, of course, is by Guoco Land and Hong Leong. And potentially the way I see is that they likely are going to replicate what they have in terms of their Lentor success. So they want to go in and start the first plot. And in future, will there be more plots coming up? Later on, we will study a little bit deeper into the details. All right. So of course, for Springleaf, if you ask me the future potential buy-in, okay, I think this is very important. So let us take a look at the master plan, right? I just want to share with you why are we studying this master plan. It's because today, based on the understanding about the Springleaf area, right, I think it's also important for us to understand what is actually happening in that location. So let us take a look at Springleaf. Okay, residences. So these are all live using our AI tools. We are able to actually pull out some of all this location. All right. So we need to, yeah, this is one of the, you can actually access to entire location. You can see that where we are. We are able to actually access even to Sembawang area, you know. So this is also something that today, if I ask you to look into the maps itself, right, you're able to see where Springleaf is. And this has, although this area is very much already secured in terms of properties. So, but of course, if you are familiar with Springleaf, the area that we are in is a little bit underdeveloped. Okay, I wouldn't say not developed, but it's underdeveloped. So if you look at the entire area, of course, this one, Springleaf Residences, you can see that is under construction, right? But if we pull out the under the master plan, and besides seeing the 2019 master plan, we also want to look at 2025 master plan. Okay, so you can see that the MRT as well as the big plot. So the key thing that I want to draw your attention is today with Thomson East Coast Line that is already been working, which is Springleaf MRT, right? You can see that the entire orange plot, right, it used to show yellow color. Okay, this entire area is yellow color. And what is yellow in terms of the legend for the master plan? Okay, so let's take a look at 19, right? So it's the same. Even if you go back to 2019, the land is still in orange color. But way before 2019, right, you can see that we have a data that actually shows that the land is actually under reserve sites. Okay, so the yellow color is under reserve site. So now it has changed since 2019 master plan, and it has been orange until now, and it has stated subject to detailed planning. So I also want to take this chance to share with every one of you that today, if let's say today we are looking at master plan, and if you see subject to detailed planning, even if they have changed the color to, let's say, orange, which is residential, right, you do need to take note the timeline for the developments may not come in so quickly. All right, so subject to detailed planning, it still requires a lot of work. But what you can really assure now is that the Springleaf area of 2.5 plot ratio has already been confirmed for residential. That's why they're able to launch it. But if you look at the entire area, you are like the only one, the only condo there, because you're surrounded by all the landed enclave. Yes, it's definitely quiet, very exclusive, especially with the high floor, high story kind of area, right? But key question that you must ask yourself is that today, will you want to go into an area where you are the first plot and a lot of the other plots of land are subject to detailed planning? We do not know what's going to happen. Or you would rather have current numbers and surrounding to back up some of your entry and exit. So this is something that we also want to ensure that we look into. And moving forward, if let's say we look into the Canberra site, okay, so let's look at Canberra site comparison. So if you look at Canberra, this property is 376 units. Okay, there are 4 towers. Okay, 4 12-story residential tower. And the interesting part is that they are being mandatory to have a childcare center. All right, childcare center. So they're basically 4 blocks, you can see. All right, and for this property, the land space is also rather big, and with 382 residential car park lots. So it's a one-to-one configuration. And we already have the latest update regarding the price guide that the prices are starting from $1,800 per square foot onwards. Again, I want to stress that this is onwards means that it's the lowest floor, it's the starting price. As it goes up, there will definitely be price increase that you need to be aware of. All right, so but for Canberra, okay, the master plan is a little bit different. Okay, the master plan is a little bit different. And one of the key things is that you must understand when we are doing comparison for master plan, what it helps us to look into is to give us a glimpse of what is going to happen in the future. And that could also help us in the, give me a second, let me just find where Canberra is. Yes. So because of the comparison, right, I just want to show you all this property. I'm going to just draw your attention to where Canberra is. All right. So Canberra Crescent, don't confuse, is Canberra Crescent Residences. Oh, so a little bit mouthful, but they call it CCR for short. So you're buying a what? A CCR in an OCR price. Okay. So one of the key things that you must realize is, okay, this is under the one map. So we are, let me just pull out the 2019 master plan first. Okay, so this is something that a lot of the videos right now, they are actually misinterpreting. So I just want to make this very clear that based on 2019 master plan, you are actually having some of these details that a lot of people may not see it correctly. So I'm going to come back and share with you why this one mistake, right, potentially is going to let you see a different perspective of things. And I'm going to come back to this in a short while, as I'm going to share with you later on in the video. Okay, so coming back, so with the price guide, of course in Canberra area, we are going to see that, hey, this location is not nearest to the MRT. Okay, let's be very upfront on this. But at the same time, it's surrounded by a lot of HDBs, a lot of BTOs, as well as a lot of ECs going on. So later on, we're going to uncover why this is going to place a advantage or disadvantage as you are watching this on, then it can help you to actually digest better to see what is actually happening. So one of the key things is that we are about 10 minutes away from the Canberra MRT and about 6-minute drive if you want to Sembawang MRT. So if today you're looking for purely just based on MRT, then you may want to stay on all the way to the video. And because why? Because a lot of times when we are using that as a guideline, right, you may not be able to see the details of the research. So if this is your first time following us, remember to just subscribe and follow us through and hit that notification bell, because generally we will always produce videos on a weekly basis, be it whether it's project updates, whether it's a market update. I think these are all education and knowledge that you want to have. So help me out in this. Okay, so coming back, in this area, besides the connectivity, we are also talking about quite a fair bit in terms of shopping and entertainment area. So it's a very well matured area, consists of different type of developments. So when it's matured, meaning that you are going in not blind, okay, you're not guessing your way into the property. In terms of pricing, in terms of what is happening, you can actually see it yourself. You can actually go down and experience yourself. And this is also why later on when I'm sharing with you, one of the mistake that a lot of the videos now are sharing, they may miss this out, and and you guys are following this video, so I want to make sure that you guys are following it through properly. Okay, and if let's say today, one of the key thing between these two properties, we get it. For Springleaf, it's definitely going to be a newer township. That means even for your exit time, your buyer, they are still forming. You see, they're not there already. Whereas for Canberra, the buyers are already there. And the upgrading process is very nearby, because maybe the parents are nearby, the schools are also nearby. But one thing, let us just take a look at why this comparison. Because if today we are looking at Springleaf area, you are basically covered by a lot of jungle, a lot of jungle area. And Canberra is already a very matured township. So you don't need to guess about who is going to buy from you, because they're already there. And upcoming, we are going to have quite a fair bit of launches in the second half of this year. So before you jump into the launches, and one of the things that I always want to make sure that you guys are taking note of is, please do not just jump into the new launch without understanding. I think the very first important part is to gain clarity about your own plans. You know, there's a lot of projects. Maybe a lot of you have been queuing and balloting for every single project, but maybe not all projects are suitable for you. So you can actually scan the QR code, and we can actually work out and see if is there something that we can help you to gain clarity about in terms of your property journey. And then we decided, based on your finances, based on your property assessment, what is the best approach that we can go for. So you can actually scan the QR code and work with us on a deeper level, on a more personalized level. So because I always share that today, if you want to go for new launches, right, these are the 5 things that you cannot miss out before you even think about going into the property market. Just like how Vince actually, who have worked with us recently, right? So they have been exploring to purchase a second property for investment, and they have visited many new launches. Okay, they have visited many new launches. But at the same time, right, you can see that today, even though they have submitted several checks for balloting, of course, it's all heng sui lah, whether you are able to get the queue number. So after watching our videos, and they understand the methodology behind, and also they wanted somebody to guide them step by step. And we basically provided them a very detailed analysis backed up with data, and of course the insights that we have done. And through this consultation that we have done, right, we basically guide them through their objective. Okay, we are basically sharing information, and we are the non-pushing the effort. I believe every homeowners today, you need to know what you are doing. Even though you may have a idea, you may have something that you want to do, but it's okay to actually open your mind to listen out. Could there be some other things that you missed out? Could there be some other perspective that you have not considered before that are also equally important? So for Vince side, we basically, after understanding their situation, we presented different proposals of what are the directions and scenarios that could come out, that certain things are maybe too risky, we need to avoid them, and why this runway of just 3 to 4 years may be too short. So there's many computation that we actually guided them on to explain why certain properties will fit their objective, and some properties may not be the best. Okay, we're not saying there's no like they are the best property or the lousy property. There's no such things, but can we tailor make the right property towards your objective? I think that's very important. Okay, so even though for them they have experience buying and selling properties, they actually learn a lot during this process to help them make a decision. So the key thing is that we cannot make decision for you. Okay, our role is really to help you connect all the dots with the information, to gain you access into live data, to use our AI tools to help you develop your thought process better so that you can move forward. Okay, I think this is very, very important. And later on, I'm going to share with you case studies where we're going to use AI model system to demonstrate if today you have a certain investment amount and you are shortlisting a property, perhaps you have been hearing that, oh, I want to buy near the MRT, and you're willing to pay a price, maybe even higher price or premium price because you just want the MRT. So our role is, how can you have a second voice? Okay, a second voice from us to provide you another perspective that before you even jump into the purchase, so that we can kind of bounce off if this is the most ideal. Because there will be situations where because of all this accessibility, the convenience, do you agree that there could also be certain premium tag into the purchase? All right, so that is into the price tag so that you can purchase. So there's always certain trade-offs, but the question is, we want to see how much the price gap is, and does it make sense? And I'm going to demonstrate this later on through really live data. So the key thing is that one of the things that we don't like to ask ourselves, or because we want to buy or we love it so much. So I always share that it's always extremely important to have a second opinion and perspective before you decide. So with that, right, I want to kind of just draw your attention to how we can use data to help us determine one of the biggest question on everybody's mind is, if today I'm going to buy a property near the MRT versus one that is away from the MRT, does it make any difference? Okay, is the growth potential really as enormous as everybody says? Or is it that we are the one thinking that, well, today because of convenience, because of the accessibility, I put a higher weightage on it based on my own personal experience? Nothing wrong, because we all buy property like how we know it. Okay, this is how we buy property. But today, if we are able to layer on another set of research and data to guide you to see deeper. Okay, our role is to help you see deeper into the trends, into the access, into the research and data, so that you can see another perspective, and then we see how it goes. All right. So let me just draw your attention. Okay. So let me draw your attention to, let's say today I want to do a comparison. Okay. So with our AI tools, right, we are able to actually draw out the entire Singapore properties, and every transactions, every live data, every listings are as accurate and updated. So today, I just want to do a very simple assessment using our AI model, right? To show you how quick we are able to do a comparison and how accurate we are able to draw out all this data to save time for us in making just the initial filtering process, how we are able to use that to our advantage. So let's say today, I just want to understand, okay, maybe I want to understand, okay, does it really matter for MRT that is near to me or not? So I would just want to click on the filter of our MRT. And because of this, I want a very near, maybe less than maybe 500 meters, okay, for me to just walk to the MRT. So actually 500 meters also considered, I mean, you can walk but anything more than 500 meters, sometimes people feel like it's a little bit too far. But I just want to use this for comparison's sake. When we get onto our one-on-one consult, that's where we can have more reputation to discuss a little bit deeper. So just based on this, right, there's also certain things that I want to do some comparison because I don't want to choose too old a property. So I want to have a younger property, slightly pre-COVID. Okay, why? Because everybody knows that when COVID comes, everything just went up. So I think it's a very unfair comparison if we just take everything that is just 3 years ago. I think we want to kind of bring it a little bit before when the market is before COVID situation. So let us just maybe use 2018 as a comparison and to today's date of TOP. So what this does is it actually computes every project in Singapore from 2018 all the way to 2024, and they will compute things out. Okay, so I'm going to leave the rest of the fields open, but I think one of the key things that I also want to just have a minimum rental yield. Why? Because I also don't want my property to be not rentable in future, but there's a certain margin that I can use it to protect my principal and my interest in future. So this is the data that we're going to draw out. And from here, you can see we have the entire breakdown based on the different districts as well as the specific projects. So from here, I can even look into, if let's say today I really want the closest to the MRT, okay, I can just choose Ultra. Okay, Ultra being just 59 meter away. But the rental yield perspective is about 3.51 million, 3.1%. So this gives you a good indication to say that, hey, today if I'm going into this, should I buy into this property? Because this property is since 2016. So there's a lot more research that we can dive into. But for discussion's sake, today I'm just going to choose the entire district, and what we want to do is to do a comparison between the property that is less than 500 meters and more than 500 meters. Do they actually have such a big difference that we all wanted? And that's why we are sometimes willing to pay even a premium for the MRT units. Okay, so based on this, you can see the blue color one is the one less than 500 meters. So now let's plot in the property that is further away. All right, so we just use 1 km. Oh, so anything 1 km is considered a little bit longer, further, and we want to just pull it all the way to 2 km. So I want to kind of see a huge disparity between these two, and does it make sense for us to pay that premium for the nearer to MRT? So same thing, we put in 2018 to 2024. And my rental yield also, I will put in minimum 3.5%. So that will actually churn out any properties that will perform much better. So when we do this, again, we're going to have the entire spectrum that is away from MRT. All right, so you'll be surprised that today, even though now we are seeing both charts actually trending almost the same, I think one of the key things is that we want to see which one actually performs better. So the blue color one is the less than 500 meters, and the red color one is the 1 km to 2 km. So let us just use 2013. Okay, let's use 2013 as a mark. And I don't want to use 2025 because we're just halfway through, so the data may not be accurate. So I just use it until 2024. At least we can project the last 10 years. So last 10 years, if you look at the entire 500 meters, all the projects within 500 meters, they actually climb up about 40%. And for those that 1 km to 2 km away from each other, they're commanding about 31%. So we're talking about maybe about 7% niche or 8% difference in terms of your margin. So what this trend tells us is that no doubt both properties, whether it's near MRT or not MRT, they are trending upwards. The nearer to the MRT ones actually are performing a little bit better. Okay, but not huge. Okay, because we're talking about the entire last 10 years, and we all agree that the last 3 years or so, because of COVID, a lot of the properties has climbed to another level. So some of these data may not be as detailed because it may be riding on the market trend, market movement that we are seeing. But let's just give this as a fundamental. But I also want to draw your attention is, and with this, and sometimes a lot of clients, they will say that, oh, if that's the case, right, then I should just buy property near MRT lah, and can get the convenience. I can also have the accessibility. Why not? So this is where you need to understand, how much are you putting on a value to the convenience as well as the accessibility, or does it make sense or not? So let me share with you this data, right? So another thing that you can also derive from this AI model is that today the red color one is those properties that is away from MRT. So they are 1 km to 2 km, and the blue color one is within 500. So if we start plotting in these two, right, to see the price gap, right? So what does this mean? It means that today, if you are intending to buy a property that is nearer to the MRT, regardless how near, you may need to look into about 10% of premium. Okay, that's where the price gap is. 10% premium. And 10% premium, we're talking about, let's say it's a 2 million, we're talking about 200,000. Or correct, 10% premium. So that's about $200,000. So the question is, if just for the MRT is that 200,000 based on a 2 million property, is it worth to pay that 10%? Okay, so why is this important for us to know? Okay, why is this important for us to know? Because sometimes we are blinded by the emotion part of purchasing a property. Oh, because I want the convenience, all this. I'm not saying that it's incorrect to purchase those, but you need to look at another factor of it is the price difference, the price gap. So right now, if based on this data, generally in the entire Singapore, it's about 10% gap. So if you are paying 200,000 more, or whichever the seller is asking, right? And do you think the seller will also be looking at a little bit more premium because they also know their property is near the MRT? So, but this price gap, we're not saying that you don't pay a premium, but that it doesn't make sense to pay this extra 10%. Why? Why do I say so? Because if today you are agreeable to do this premium, right, then you must also understand, first, your overall quantum increases. Okay, so when your overall quantum increases, it means one thing, your money mortgage also increases. Your money mortgage increases, your down payment increases, the stamp duty you're paying also increase. So this is where you also need to make sure that, hey, does it really outweigh choosing another property? Perhaps it's not as near to the MRT or not. So this is something that is also for you to really dive in deeper when we are looking at properties, and not just about, oh, I want the MRT, I want the MRT. Okay, why? Because for the uh, Canberra as well as Springleaf, right? You can see Springleaf is really boop, go to MRT. Or for Canberra, we still have to walk lah, or about 9 minutes. Sembawang MRT is definitely further, but at least to Canberra MRT is about 9 to 10 minutes walk. My leg longer, so maybe I can walk a little bit faster. Also, that's why we want to kind of explore these two properties. And if you see Springleaf, they are in a very forested area, quite exclusive. And if you compare to Canberra, which is already quite well established as a matured area, but they are further away from MRT, so we need to accept that. And so later on, we will cover something I call the support logic. Okay, I'm going to cover something called the support logic, which is to help you as a homeowner not only look at what you're going to buy, but more importantly is how you're going to exit. Okay, how you're going to exit. So this is something I call a support logic. And let me ask every one of you here, if let's say today you're buying a property, won't you want to go in with the clarity, understanding of the pricing of the surrounding projects, okay, and how much they've been last transacted at? Wouldn't you want to at least have an idea, if let's say today I don't want to stay there due to whatever reason, right, you want to rent it out, what kind of rental it pulls in? Okay, so at least you have some benchmark, or wouldn't you want to know, let's say based on a certain area, what kind of project size, or maybe the type of property, the layout, actually move faster in a certain estate, a certain area? I think these are all very important key points for us as homeowners, or to take note, because a lot of times we only just look at the front and, oh, I just want to buy. But many of us, we forgot how we're going to exit from that property. So in our REI method, we go through 5 very strict criteria, right, before we even buy a property. Because a lot of times we don't just look at what to buy, we look at how we're going to exit. Also, ask yourself this question: wouldn't you want to have a full picture before you make a decision? And all this cannot bluff, because numbers cannot, it's all transacted, it's all real numbers, and that can also act as a support. That's why this support logic is very important for us to know. Okay, so let's say today, if you're going to start doing certain clarity and you want to have certain ideas of what to do, how do you usually start doing to do some comparison in terms of research? All right, so let's say today you want to buy a property, let's say based in, I mean, whichever area lah. Or so let's just use some examples. Let's say we say you want to go to Potong Pasir and you want to buy a property there, but you just want to buy, but you don't know where to start doing your research. So this is how you can start off with. Let me share with you. So one of the key thing is that today you can actually start off with what? You can start off with going to the street directory, all right, and start seeing certain projects. All right, so maybe I use Canberra as an example lah. So let's say you go in, you say that, oh, I want to study maybe watercolor. You will start seeing, oh, water gardens is here, the Commodore. Then you start looking at which are the orangey color condos, then you start writing them down. Lor. Or this is the watercolor, this is the common door, then you have Yishun Sapphire, Yishun Emerald. So you start writing all these projects down to start comparing. And usually a lot of homeowners, they always start from the MRT outwards, or they want to go and look at the nearest to the MRT first. Usually it's that case. Then they go further and further. So this is where you usually start off with. And once you have that information of the number of projects in that location, then what's the next thing you do? Or you maybe go to URA because you want to what? You want to find out what's the prices like in the area. So then you go to URA, then you search. Maybe you can go to district. Okay, then you start searching. Maybe you go to Springleaf or Sembawang. Okay, Sembawang is a Canberra area. Also, you can actually choose when's the sales date, but the maximum you can do is what? Is only until 25 years ago lah. So let's say this is the latest data that you want to have, and you can actually select new sale, sub-sale, everything. So the property type, of course, what we have is a condo. So we're talking about apartments and condo, and then you can do a search. So URA also gives you data like this, that you are able to download, and then you do your own comparison. So usually you want to what? You want to just sort it by project name, right? So unless you want to go for by prices, also can, but you also can go for what sizes. So but it's very difficult. If you want to look at the bigger sizes are here, then you want to keep scrolling. How many pages? I don't know how many pages to go. So you're neither here nor there if you are looking for the 3-bedroom, because 3-bedroom will be stuck in between. So you have actually all the details here, and we can see even from how much it's been sold for, what is the kind of size, okay, what is the kind of unit per square meter, how many units was transacted, as well as the floor level. Of course, the floor level is not specific, so you may not know how it is, but it does give you a certain benchmark of properties. And these are all in the District 27. And after you have certain prices or certain projects that you kind of know, then the next thing that you do is what? You go to Property Guru. Okay, you go to Property Guru because you want to start looking at, okay, what are the existing units for sale? Okay, then you just search, okay, today I want to buy a property and I want to search by district. So you are going through the same process multiple times. So let's say we use 27, then you apply. Maybe you can put in the number of bedrooms that you want. I mean, I'm sure that many of you already know how you do it, but I'm just showing you an example for you to actually start looking at it. But the question is, how are you able to determine whether the prices listed, are they accurate or not? Or then of course you can call one by one and ask them how negotiable they are. But I'm just giving you an example. This is usually how a lot of homeowners start doing research. Okay, but what if we are able to use AI model, right, of just now what I have demonstrated to you, to speed up this entire process, right, so that you can have a clearer direction, you have a deeper understanding, you do not need to go and waste so much time doing it, because after you do it, maybe the unit also sold already. So what if we are able to work with you hand in hand to support you in that once and for all, on the spot, we are able to guide you through using AI to speed up your process of research, or while we work together. It's not only just you do it yourself. So let me share with you, let's say if today I want to start looking at a pricing comparison, right? How can we do it quicker to what? To find out the prices of the surrounding, okay, of the last transacted prices. Second, what kind of rental it pulls in. And also today, is there a certain particular type of layout or even units that we can go for that it is more favorable? Okay, there's a lot more demand for such project. Okay, so let me just share with you this AI app that we have, right? And I think one of the key thing important is that today we want to save time. So let's say we do the same thing. Okay, let's just reset this, and we do the same thing that, okay, I want to kind of spot out what kind of developments in a certain area I should go for. So let me just go and choose a district. Of course, we have more permutation here, but for discussion sake and comparison sake, I'm just going to do the exact same thing that you would have done on your own if you are looking to purchase a property. So we have more criteria that we can help you to filter and narrow down. So instead of you physically or manually doing it, so let's say today we're looking at 3-bedroom. And I would say that, oh, I want maybe a number of units. I want minimum size maybe 150, let's say for example, and I will have a certain size I want. Maybe you're saying that, okay, I want 950 to maybe 1200 square feet. Okay, so you can actually put in the number of sizes, and we are able to compute from a resale and even new launch properties what are the selections and choices available. Let's say for example, maybe I have a maximum of 2.1 million X, just see. Okay, 2.1 million, that's my maximum threshold. And I like to also explore, are there also new properties? There is also 2.1 million. So this gives us a indication of what is happening right now. And the moment I generate, it will immediately share with you that there are 24 listings in the marketplace. Okay, 24 listings, and they are all over the place. So you can see that they already shortlisted the projects that is available. So we have North Gaia, we have Skies Minotaur, we have Lilydale, we have Canopy. Of course, this you can further break it down into even the age of the property. So with this, it also helps us to determine today, hey, based on this list, which are the projects perhaps previously you have seen before, you can eliminate them if you don't like it. You see, so this is also one of the reason why when we are doing certain research, we are able to pull out things faster. So I just want to use one example, let's say province residents. Okay, province residents, right now, they are basically the same resale listings out in the marketplace. But I want to study and see that, okay, is province actually, based on pricing, does it make sense for us to look into? Are there any units already been sold for? What is the prices? So, of course, we all know that province residence is actually a EC. You cannot sell yet because it's not. So let us just use another example. Okay, let's use brownstone. Okay, brownstone, definitely there's already transactions going on. So you can see that how many listings are there. So you do not need to actually go to Property Guru and then go and figure out yourself. We are able to actually help you see once and for all what is the asking price right now, and does it make sense for us to even explore into it before the negotiation with the sellers, and we are able to shortlist them faster. And from brownstone, then we can see, okay, let's say today I'm looking at a 3-bedroom. What is the average prices in a 3-bedroom is? All right, so let's say we look at 3-bedroom. We just filtered it by 3 bedrooms. We can immediately pull out the latest data that is transacted in June. How much a 3-bedroom for 883 square feet is worth? About 1.33 million. See, and from here, it also gives you an indication that, hey, it seems like the 800 to 900 plus square feet unit for the 3-bedroom, it seems to be more people selling and more people buying. So this also helps you to have a kind of a strategy when you are buying a property within the Canberra area perhaps. All right, so this is just some of the indication. And we are able to see also nearby properties. Oh, the closest 200 meters, what is the average per square foot that I should be looking at for both sale and for both rental as well. So these are the 3 projects that is within 200 meters away. But I can even pull it out if let's say I want to compare, let's say 700 meters. So I will have more comparison. And from here, I would learn to rank them in terms of their age, being the youngest to the oldest, so that gives me a very quick indication in terms of their sales price range and their rental price range. So what does this do? This gives us a better overview to determine is the pricing something within our reach or not. Okay, so this saves a lot of time for you rather than every single project we want to go in and then start exploring. So even from here, let's say I'll say, oh, I kind of like Canberra residences. Hey, you can just open up everything from here. So from Canberra residences, we can start seeing the comparison. So we can start seeing that today, based on Canberra, let's say after they see the unit and you forgot how the layout is, or let's say you went to see a 3-bedroom 904 square feet example or just give you an example, and you kind of, hey, I forgot how the layout is like. Immediately we are able to pull out the layout to show you. Okay, so this is a 2-bedroom. Okay, it's a 2+ study. So you are able to use this and reflect, oh, this is the unit that I saw. Okay, I remember this is what they have. So using our AI tool like this, right, it gives you a lot of convenience to understand today based on data, what are the average per square foot? Are you overpaying for a certain property? And these are all very important for us when we are looking into property. So example for Canberra residences, right? Let's say I just open out the map, and we are still also using it to see what one map. So sometimes when we are buying a property, we are worried that, oh, if I buy a property here, will it be blocked in future? What is the future front going to be? All right, so this is why you all must stay on later on, because I'm going to review the one thing that a lot of the videos did not highlight, and I'm going to share with you this one difference that is going to potentially make or break your decision making, especially if you're considering for Canberra residences, and how this information is going to prevent you from losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay, so using this information, we are able to dive in like, oh, there we have the master plan and how we look into it. All right, so this is how we are able to use AI to kind of help you determine the layout, the prices, the comparison, most importantly. Also, when we are doing our one-on-one, of course, we do a little bit more in details. We will do our prep work, and then as we explain to you, it will give you a better understanding at the same time. All right. So one key thing that I think we all have to acknowledge is that today, why Canberra versus Springleaf, right? Of course, Springleaf is going to be only launched in August, and there's a lot of people also talking about that. Of course, if let's say today you are considering either one, you want to really understand how is it, don't forget to also just maybe reach out to us, and also subscribe the video, and you can actually link up and click on it, and you can actually get in touch with us to help you on what is happening. So I'll just give you guys a quick overview about what the Canberra residences, Canberra Crescent residences, I always miss that out, or is about, or so that you can at least have some ideas, or then if you find that, hey, this is something that you really have been waiting for, then we can see how it goes. So I want to give you guys a quick overview about, let's say, even though it's 9 minutes walk to the Canberra MRT, we are just 3 bus stops away to Sembawang MRT, as well as 3 bus stops to Canberra MRT. So for me, because personally I drive, so to me, even 1 minute to me also I find it far. I will drive. Also, sorry, please don't judge me. Okay, please don't judge me. All right, so I just want to start on the MRT track, because Canberra is about 800 to 900 meters away. Also, some people say that it's a deal breaker, but here's the truth. There are a few transportations, okay, that is going to be built in towards the north side, and I'm going to cover quite some of them to share with you the potential of why the government is injecting such a massive amount of investments and infrastructure into this area. All right. The first thing is, of course, the MRT. All right. With the Thomson East Coast Line being open, I think it links up to a lot of other interchange. Also, Singapore is going to cut off a lot of kind of unnecessary walking or even traveling. So that's why they are going to build the first world-class transport system that we are within. Every MRT station is going to be within 10 minutes walk. That's what the narrative is. And as we have seen, it's quite true. So today, you also need to take note that even if we say that, oh, you no need to buy property near the MRT, right? You also don't want to be too far away or like very super ulu inside. You still want to be a little bit more accessible, even minimum also by bus that it can link you to the MRT. I think that is the bare minimum that you want to have. All right, cool. All right, so from here, right, you can see that for Canberra residences, they are also going to provide you a 1-year shuttle bus services, and it operates to all these locations. And not forgetting that the cross north-south corridor is going to be operation by 2029. Okay, all right, so the first step will be from 2027. So why am I sharing with you this that is important? Today, a whole bunch of funds are invested into the north-south corridor to connect from the south to the north. And what potentially is going to happen there is something that I believe is going to change quite a fair bit of things going on. And I will share with you what are some of the transformations happening in this location. Okay, in this location. And I just want to kind of draw your attention on this HDB flats. Okay, so while we all know that today in Canberra is a little bit more matured, because there's already existing condos, existing ECs, existing HDBs there, This acts as a support logic for you moving forward in terms of your purchase and sale. So why I want to share with you this is because I draw your attention to the map again. Okay, I just want to draw your attention to the map. Okay, so let's say today I just want to pull out Canberra area, right? So Canberra Crescent Residences, let me just pull this out. Okay, yeah. So if you can see the 1.6, okay, 1.6 is where Canberra Crescent Residences is. And if you can see that there are basically 3 plots of yellow color, which is identified as E. Okay, E means what? Is an education body. So this is where a lot of the videos are making the mistake, because this is a 2019 master plan. Existingly, you can see 3. But if you move it to the 2025 draft master plan, do you see a difference? That the plot on the left side is supposed to be an educational. Let's do it again so that you all can see the difference. So what is in between 2.3 and 1.6 is stated as E, has changed to what? 2.8. So what is 2.8? Meaning you have a higher plot ratio of properties that you can build up higher lah. Okay, and this 2.8 also indicates that today is not a subject to planning like what I shared with you in Springleaf. This is an indicator that says that, okay, maybe moving forward, okay, in very soon the government is going to release this land for tender. So the only thing that we do not know is whether this plot of land is going to be a HDB or a private condominium. Okay, this one is a question mark because there's no indication yet. So let me ask every one of you here, if let's say today you already have 2 educational bodies here and you're going to have a new residential that is going to be coming in within the next 1 or even 2 years down the road, right? How would it enhance the entire area in terms of development? Okay, in terms of the number of units, also in terms of the demand. Why would the government want to change our educational body and change it to a residential? So these are always thoughts that we have to understand. And today, one of the key things that I'm very sure what the government are doing is always they want to ensure certain infrastructure are always in place first. Then they will start building condominiums to drive the demand into the area. So be it whether it's a HDB or whether it's a condominium, right? I believe there's a lot of upside. And with this extra information, right, it's going to help you determine that, hey, today, if I'm going to go into this location, be it a HDB or condominium, right, how can they also become your future buyers? And this is the reason why if today you see that there are almost 9,000 HDB flats and you can see their MOP has already reached. But one thing surprisingly is when I'm doing my research, right, last time we always think that, wow, Sembawang, Canberra, Yishun, all these, their HDBs are a little bit underpriced or underpriced. But today when I do my research, I had a shock. Or their 4-bedroom or 3-bedroom can go up as high as 620,000. Yishun can be almost 600,000 and Woodlands almost 600,000. And this is just for 3-bedroom. Also, I've not been studying those areas in terms of HDB for quite a while. But that's why when I was doing this research, I was like, whoa, something is different. And do you want to see the 4-bedroom? Sembawang, Yishun, and Woodlands can be easily upwards of 800,000, and that's the 4-bedroom. What about the 5-bedroom? Yishun can close to 1 million? Question mark. Of course, maybe it's just one off, but at the same time, most of the properties there are already hovering about 700 to 800 over 1,000. So sometimes I always get certain objections. Okay, a lot of different objections from different homeowners. It's like, oh, today I want to buy the MRT because it makes my life easier lah. But today you also must understand, today you are buying into a new property area. You also need to really consider how are the neighbors, okay, your surrounding upgraders, so-called. Do you have enough upgraders in your location? Because probably if you're in the OCR area, you still want to what? Make sure that there's families buying your property. So this is also something we have to be extremely careful about. And that's the reason every property that you're buying, be it in which location, there are different audience group that you need to sell to. Okay, and that is the reason why today, if you are going to Canberra area with the place already supported with the logic of what upgraders, and their HDBs are not cheap. Okay, it's a certain flow in terms of their potential growth, and at the same time, there's already existing condos and even ECs that are already building. So we're talking about uh, a kind of ecosystem where you sell to me, I sell to you kind of approach. Because most of the time, if you want to stay in the area, you want to stay back in the area. But you may want to look for a younger property to have a different lifestyle, different design, different amenities, different facilities to upkeep. But you want to be in that same location. Am I right or not? So this is also something that you also have to be extra uh, understanding, okay, so that you know what is happening for when you're purchasing any new launches. And this is not only just for Canberra area, okay, it's really across all the different properties that you're buying, be it resale, be it new launches. You need to have that kind of thought process, not just about, oh, I got this amount, this location I like, and I just buy in. There's a lot more things to think through. And one of the key things that I have done the research on, right, is that I also see that today, based on the future growth potential of the location. So recently we actually visited the URA Maxwell Road displays, right? And I was talking to the urban planners there at the same time, and it caught my uh kind of it tickled me about the north area, which I think is going to be very interesting. Okay, I want to be honest, north area, far north is always somewhere that I have no much clue about. So until Lentor came about, that's where I dive into understanding Lentor. And when I study Lentor, you have to study Sembawang, you have to study Yishun, you have to study Woodlands. And I do see a glimpse of uh, future potentials there, very exciting. And because the number one change I always highlight, if you have followed me, my urban planner, urban planner blueprint, right, that I shared in some of my video, you can see that the moment when there's a certain master plan change, right, and if the change is quite massive, that means there are definitely more news coming in, which is why the Sembawang North area, they're going to inject almost 10,000 new units into the housing estates, a mixture of HDBs and condos at the same time. So when we have news like this, right, it's also a indication. And what's the indicator that we also have is that, wow, Chincharu area, okay, HDB is going to have a master plan there, and there's also a site that is good, that's already there for GLS site, right? That's already been launched. So these are all movements that today the Sembawang Yishun area is no longer what we think that is going to be very far. There's going to be very ulu. There's going to be nothing. And all these changes is also due to movements of what the government plans for. And one of the biggest movement that we see is the Sembawang shipyard redevelopment. I think this is massive. And when I was in the Maxwell URA site, I was talking to them, and I realized that they won't just move a shipyard or wouldn't redevelop a shipyard if there are no bigger plans behind the scene. But it may not be so quick. It may be within the next 10, 20, 30, or even 40 years down the road. It's very similar to how the the video that we have done before. There is on what? There is on the Tuas port. Okay, so they move from the port PSA to Tuas, the movement, and they're going to be completed by 2027, 2028. So that is also another key indicator to allow us to know that when they move, that area is going to be redeveloped. And where Tuas is going to be, there's going to be an injection of demand at the same time. So with Sembawang Shipyard, I believe that will also be something that is going to have a bigger change coming up. Of course, based on their photos, wow, it seems like another water living. And from the plans that I saw and talking to the urban planner, they are trying to recreate a water living lifestyle there. Okay, I think this is something is worth to even explore. And this shipyard redevelopment is very classy, if you ask me. And it reminds me a little bit when I was traveling to London a little bit. So you have all the docks lah, yeah, you have all the shipyard stuff, but at the same time, it's been developed into a lifestyle area. So these are all things that I see things happening, and North side has been underdeveloped for quite a while. there's not much big news about the area. But when this came about, and of course the new Seletar MRT line that is proposed, and this has been the news about the new Tengah and Seletar MRT lines, all these are indicators. So one of the key things I always share with all my community, right, is that the moment when there's infrastructure going on in certain locations, that equals to growth potential. So if you have been following me or you have not been following me, I've done a video in terms of how do we actually spot using the master plan for growth potential locations. You may want to check it out somewhere lah. Okay, yeah, so this is definitely another indicator on us. So when there's information, when there's news, and there's really press releases about certain location, I also urge every one of you, don't just take the news blindly and just say, oh, because this thing is going on. You may want to also explore it on site. Okay, drive down, take a look and see what's actually happening before you even make any decisions. If not, never mind, we have done it for you, because I'm very capable and nothing to do. I will just drive to all these locations, some places that you seldom go to see actually, wow, you'll be surprised some of the locations suddenly got flyover, like in the west side as well. Previously you wouldn't know. And with indicators like this, like wow, the upcoming North government land sales, all these are very highly um, talk about. Okay, highly talk about that. How is it that for the last couple of years we've been hearing a lot more GLS in some of the more prime locations, but why is government injecting so much land into the northern area? Of course, there's a lot more things that we see after understanding the future of the entire next 20 years in terms of the master plan. And one of the key thing is when there's no new GLS lands, that means they are up for redevelopment. And most importantly is rejuvenation of sites. So Singapore does this very well. Rejuvenation means maybe a certain area has been slower in terms of growth. They want to inject new life into it, and that's the reason the land will always be the first one, because when the land starts, it will create demand, and when demand comes, developers can come in to start building properties. So this has always been a very, if you ask me, workable model. It has helped us quite a fair bit. Okay, so I've seen this too many times. Sometimes unfortunately we all buy properties based on comfort, not just on strategy. So many just panic when they cannot exit or they have to sell their property prices lower lah. So that's not what I want for you all. So that's why if today you are considering or shortlisting some of the projects out there, or perhaps you have missed certain project launches due to a lousy balloting number, take it as a blessing in disguise, because now you're watching this video, you may have somebody to be able to guide you through, like, actually what you wanted to do, is it safer, is it part of your objective and plan or not. All right, so reach out, because we are not just guessing our way into the property market. We are using our access to research data and our AI model to help you curb that demand. All right, so if today you are also considering either of the properties, whether it's Canberra or even Springleaf residences, what I'll do is I'll be also talking about these two projects and doing a little bit more in details of how these two in the OCR market are going to either confuse you or make you get clearer in terms of the developments. If let's say today you are really looking into either of this and you wanted to, okay, let me try and see whether I can get this property, even during the balloting process, there's a lot of things that we want to help you with to get yourself prepared. So while Springleaf may lack what I shared with you in this entire video, okay, especially the support logic for Springleaf, or are there also pros for Springleaf? Okay, definitely. So that's why I always share that different projects are tailored for different objective, and that's why in our consults we do it more personalized for us to understand a bit more about you. Then we can guide you through your entry so that in future you can exit. So always remember, your friend buy this project doesn't mean you must buy this project, because your timeline, everything is also very different. It's also not about the hype of the projects. Oh, you keep hearing it, oh, this is the best project. Wow, this project like sold a lot, that means this is a good project. I think these are the inaccurate way of buying property. So if you are confused, or you haven't even started and you want somebody to guide you, you can scan the QR code and reach out to us, and we will be able to see how we can help you if we can work together at the same time. All right, so if you find this useful, right, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like the video, as well as turn on the notification bell so that every time when I do new videos, you'll be notified to actually watch on it. Oh, so this is something. So especially if you are house hunting based on just MRT alone, just be careful. So what I'm going to do next is I'm also going to do on Canberra or even Springleaf when it comes out, some of the comparison based on layout, based on site plan. So check out my next video that is going to come out very, very soon. And I shall see you guys in some way or another in my masterclass, in my videos, or maybe you have reached out personally and my team will get in touch with you. So this one video potentially can help you save your future exit plan. All right, this is Coach Edmund. I see you. Cheers.